What's up, everybody? Welcome to Wits End Podcast. I am your host, Devin Witt, alongside my co-host, Joe the Show. And this week we're doing a good old Israel-Palestine Part 2, because that's what the world needs right now.
Another war.
Yes. No, to kind of start this out, I'm going to go deep state, okay? So I've heard a conspiracy theory that the reason why Hamas attacked Israel is not because of border disputes, but it's actually because of Israel's budget crisis that they're going through right now. And just like any great politician knows, how do you get out of debt and stop a budget crisis? Go to war.
Working for Russia and Ukraine.
Exactly, yeah. And
America will come in and bail them out, right? I mean, that's what they're doing.
Well, and that's the thing is, so then you look at it, and U.S. is the biggest ally of Israel. Well, wouldn't it be nice if the U.S. decided to send some aid to us? Because we're struggling. It's hard to run a corrupt government.
Well, I'm sure that they'll be involved to some degree.
And look, and I'm not anti-Israel by any means, but I truly feel like in 2023, you have to look at everything with a inquisitive eye and question all the nations that we've always labeled as good. Maybe they're actually evil. You know?
I still would say the same premise as last week. We could debate Israel doing things in the past, present, future. The thing of it is it's a terrorist organization. So what does blow my mind in this situation is everybody, Hamas is not as bad. It's a terrorist organization. So, you say, well, they're not doing that. And I know that there's actually some false stuff out there about them too, And I'm not trying to advocate, necessarily in their defense, but you're picking sides with a terrorist organization.
It is kind of wild, but that's the thing. It's almost like presidential elections. Do you think anybody really wants to pick between Joe Biden and Donald Trump? Kind of the same thing here. Does anybody really want to pick a terrorist organization? Probably not.
Well, they are.
When that's your only other choice, besides the quote-unquote bad guys being Israel.
Well, let me get my mic here. I mean, the thing of it is, just as ignorant as I think that is, I don't think this is as ignorant, but it'd be kind of the same playing field. I think there's a lot of Christians in the name of Christianity that's we support Israel. Like, you don't know what you're supporting. All you're supporting is what some pastor told you or what you might interpret as Israel.
Right. Well, it's
almost... And I said that I'm not trying to get in the breakdown of that again, but, biblically, that term Israel referred to a group of people, and some even specific people. So it depends on kind of what I'm saying that because it depends how you're looking at it.
Yeah.
There's also reference to land, but biblical Israel back then is not exact, the same as what it is now. So
of Israel today.
Yeah. So, just to say, Israel, what I'm saying is Christianity today says Israel, now, the other stuff. So they're getting on this bandwagon that they don't know what, not saying there's anything wrong with supporting them one way or the other, but I'm just saying you're getting on this because of your misinformation biblically, stuff like that. So it's a wrong premise, basically what I'm saying.
I kind of feel that way, like with some of the things that you see in America too. For instance, the Federal Reserve. Just the name itself would imply it's from the government, part of the federal system, but it's actually a private entity. And so I kind of feel that way with Israel as well. As you could say there's Israel from the Bible, but then you have modern day Israel, the nation today. And they're two different things. But your perception, just because you hear those words, you just automatically correlate, this must be God's chosen people.
Yeah, they do. And I don't necessarily agree with that. Just saying, because they mentioned Israel, it's all basically, well, we've got to get on board. I think this is there's so many angles to take this, with people getting on this from a Christian standpoint to non-Christian standpoint, picking sides in this, because from what I'm seeing thus far, could be accidents, maybe not. That's still up in the air. But I think that the government, the United States government, is trying to use this to further their agenda there and get involved in this. Yes, I think they are. One of them was, Hamas beheading babies was I'd say social media, Facebook thing. It went crazy, and I've heard several people discussing it about beheading these babies. So I do. I try to do my due diligence in looking at these things, and what I found out is it's not confirmed. Fact checked.
Yeah,
Basically,
whoops.
they're saying it's false. Now we could sit here and say, okay, they're saying it's false, just cover it. But the thing of it is, Israel is even saying, hey, we haven't confirmed that. Which is a big deal, because if there was somebody or an organization to use it to their advantage, it would be them. So how does that tie to the U.S.? Because the President of the United States is apparently the only person on the face of this earth that's actually seen those pictures of beheaded and decapitated babies. That's what he said.
Yeah.
He's seen those pictures. I thought that would never happen. I mean, I could pull the direct quote, people. It's out there on the freaking internet. So what I'm getting at is your President of the United States is a liar. Again, it's not like, oh my gosh, he caught him in a lie. No, this is not like it. There's several lies out there. But he gets on there and says he's seen these pictures, these babies beheaded and stuff, and again, supporting Israel because Hamas.
Yep.
But then the White House retracted that statement to say, well, he basically, and I'm paraphrasing, but he never seen those pictures. Because they don't freaking exist. So why get on there in the United States of America at a press conference and tell the people you've seen this? Hey, one, you're lying. Great. That shows you your ass as a president. But more importantly, what I'm trying to say is this. I think that they're looking for things to use to justify us getting involved.
Yes, and I know that for sure because there were several congressmen who were saying that, hey, we need a ceasefire as part of the agreement process for us giving aid to Israel. And I can't think of her name ever. It's like Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary, said that is repugnant. How dare any congressman call for peace from a war?
And this thing is just so screwed up on so many levels. So this just goes to show you why, and that's why, I mean, it's hard. I'm going off the things that I can try to actually see as facts before, and I ain't picking a side on this. I'm not, people can read between the lines. I don't support the terrorists in any way, shape, or form. So if you say, well, by default, you're picking Israel, then so be it. Because I'm not, I have, fought against terrorists myself, so I'm not advocating for that at all.
Right.
However, unfortunately, in these situations, what I'm seeing because of false narratives and false news, they're painting Hamas as something that, from what I can tell, they're not. One of them was beheading the babies. That's not proven. Okay, I'm not saying it didn't happen.
Right.
So people don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying they haven't proved that. The other thing that's been going around, a big one, is they're raping all these women and basically raping and pillaging the towns. Yet again, that's not proven. That stuff has been looked at, and essentially, again, for all practical purpose, fact check. There's nothing supporting those claims. So to be fair, there's people that's painting in news organizations, and maybe not all of them, but somebody's painting these people a certain way to try to push and sway your mind to go to Israel, to support Israel. It's the only agenda that can be behind it. So be careful what you're listening to, what you're watching. I've heard people already say this in churches as well. I'm like, dude, I didn't say anything to him. I'm not going to, disrupt it, but I'm like, that's not right. What you're saying.
Yeah. And that's the craziest part is that a fake story like that, can get so widespread so fast. But it's directly as a result of our government and our institutions, whether it's media or on the federal side, all telling you these lies. So it's like, how are you supposed to, as an individual, overcome that? The only way is more information. And how do you get that? You got to scour the web, baby. You got to find good people, like good independent journalists, whether it's a citizen or not. Maybe it's just an independent organization. But that's so important in today's world, because if you're not double or triple checking some of these things, then it's very easy to get lost in the weeds of what's going on as these stories just start pumping out. And, to kind of go back to your point about the U.S. involvement and talking about Iran and stuff like that, trying to get them involved, doesn't it make sense? Because, number one, in every war you need a bad guy. But if I remember right, I think it was in Rome where they started this. But it's you attacked us. So here's how it goes. You have money. We have debts. You attacked us. Therefore, you owe us reparations and indemnities.
Yeah, we've seen how reparations are going in America so far, right?
So the same premise applies for Israel in this situation. Hamas, which is like an arm or an extension of Iran, attacked us, so now you owe us money. And so if they can pull Iran into this mess and win this war, well, now instead of Israel being in financial trouble, it's Iran, which just announced not too long ago that they have, I think it's like 200 or 175,000 tons of gold reserves.
And
who wouldn't want that money?
America ain't getting it.
Well, but unless we provoke them into starting a war with us, and that's kind of how the game is played. I think America would rather be at war with Iran than they would Israel or Hamas, whatever all this other crap going on. Bottom line, there's just so much fake crap coming out of there. People, do your homework, man. Like, you just do your homework. Another thing too, though. So we have this lack of information and misinformation coming out of here, yet all the media's there, all the press. You've seen all these guys with their vests on, press. Out there. I saw this great clip of like the CNN journalist hiding in the ditch, and like they had some outside commentary of like a producer talking to him, and it was really funny because it looked fake what they were doing and their actions and stuff like that. But the point that I'm getting at is, why can journalists go to a war zone, but they're not allowed into one of our own cities in America, Maui? Make that make sense. So I can risk my life and go to another country where I could get killed in a bomb or crossfire, whatever, but I can't go visit an island in the 50 states where I live.
I don't know why they're not allowed in Hawaii. Like, and I don't understand why, but like, who actually stopped it? The press would be one of the questions I would have, to answer that.
Probably FEMA.
Well,
and
maybe
the Coast Guard, National Guard.
At surface level, without knowing much about it, my answer would be this: if they're not allowed in Hawaii, is because there's shady crap going on there, people buying up land and stuff like that, whatever else. But if they're not allowed there, it's almost like they got something to hide. Or what I think is they're just like, y'all are phony crap anyway, and you all are going to do us no favors, which they've proven they haven't. So get out of here. We don't want you here. We can do this without your help. A sense of, in a good way, a sense of pride. However, on the other side, again, I've said this in several podcasts ago, not regarding Israel or Hamas or any of this crap like that, but I said in paraphrasing, but you can go back and find the episode where I said this. When America wants to go to war with somebody, they will publicize things. They will try to sway you in a certain direction before they actually do it. Typically, that's from what I've seen, that's what will actually happen. So they'll behead babies. They'll rape people. All these other things. And America's cities. Like, hey, we don't need to be involved in that, but hey, you cannot go raping women or guys, I guess, in today's society, beheading babies and killing innocent, children and older women and stuff like that. You can't do that. My first response, and people ain't gonna like this, is like, why the separation between women now? I mean, we're all created equal.
Now all of a sudden,
it's women's rights, and we need to stand up for women's
women
rights.
And children.
Should have thought about that a long time ago, America. Not that I would advocate for women's rights, stand up for them all day long. But all of a sudden now they want to get on that bandwagon. So to say I think that the media is there and involvement is because they need this to look good in case we got to get involved, or in case we got to get, or if they're intending on getting involved.
And I totally agree with you. I mean, number one, I agree. You don't want to show any attention towards something when you're trying to actively cover up the incident and the situation as it unfolds. And vice versa, if you're trying to get support, then yes, you're going to show as much footage as humanly possible. Mm-hmm. So that way, anybody who's watching it, their mind can be manipulated into the cause you want them to be a part of.
Right.
So that totally makes sense. But the ultimate premise for me, though, is like, well, why did this whole thing break out? Because Jews want it all for themselves. They don't want to share. There is no such thing as a two-state solution. So my question then becomes, why is it okay for a country like Israel to be nationalistic in nature, as in saying, hey, we want our country to be made up of Jews? But it's wrong for a white European nation to say the same thing.
I can't really comment because I don't know. Again, like I'm telling you about false news and fake narratives and all this other stuff. I don't know that. I don't know that to be true.
Google it. How many people they let in
Well, that's
Israel.
fine, and they probably benefit from it. America would benefit from it too if they learn to shut down their borders.
And that's the point, and that's what I'm getting at, is that we would greatly benefit from it as a nation, but the more you keep letting outside influences, outside people, and let's not act like these aren't military-aged males that are flooding into our country and other ones that are letting them in. So it's like, what are we doing here? We're just literally hurting ourselves. And why? Because we don't have the balls to say it's okay for white Europeans to be nationalistic also. You don't have to end up like Hitler.
Well, again, I mean, it's a simple concept. I think it's just like if they want to shut down their borders and let nobody in, I could care less.
Then why are we calling them racist? Isn't that racist?
Racists don't exist. That doesn't exist in this world. I don't know what the hell you're smoking. Racism doesn't exist.
You're right. I am so sorry.
Exactly. I mean, we can't talk like that. We'll get kicked off the podcast. I don't know if they're racist or not. It does sound racist. Like, okay, shut down the borders. Well, you could say it's racist, but thing of it is, when we say borders, we're not talking like, okay, sorry, you come from Mexico, you can't come here. No, that's a very broad term in way that that's securing one side of the border, but we're talking about the border is anywhere you can come across, including airplanes.
Yep. Yeah, all of it.
People just don't come here, but through Mexico. So I mean, obviously, Canada. All avenues, and so obviously because of where the border's at, obviously it would be more of Hispanic is what we're talking about here, but it's not racism. It's like you need to control these things, and you and I and billions of taxpayers are having to support these people. Yeah. Not all. I don't want to categorize everybody, and I'm not. So, if people understand, don't misinterpret what I'm saying too. Saying you all, that's a blanket term for anybody here that's freaking illegal, and I'm having to pay for your dang health care. I'm having to pay for you to come over here and pay for your food stamps so you can freaking eat. That's you all. It's not a broad term of a derogatory, but okay, you're Hispanic, so it's a you all. No, be clear. I'm blanket statement. Everybody. I shouldn't be paying your freaking way. I don't get to go to Mexico and get a free dang ride. Might be cheaper, but I don't get a free ride. I don't get to go to Europe, Asia, Africa, wherever you talk about and get a free ride. Only in America. And I wonder why I say it's a land of a great opportunity. No crap, because you can come here. You don't have to do nothing.
Yeah, you can literally just come here illegally.
Yeah, you don't like where you live,
paid.
Just squat there. They won't kick you out.
Yeah,
you don't think that foreigners don't know that crap?
Well, and that's kind of my thing. Because like what you were saying, I don't want to pay for you to be here, basically, because I can hardly pay for myself. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll kind of take it a step further. The other reason why I don't want outside illegal immigrants coming into the country is because that's how you change the culture. And I'm sorry, but I don't want to become a Muslim nation. I don't want to become like some of these other nations that we're seeing happening in Europe, whether it's London, and the UK, and stuff like that. No, I love American. I love American society, American culture, American history, and I don't want any nation to come in and replace that.
Right.
So that's kind of my main thing. And if you're a true American, you should agree with that statement. Not that you don't respect other cultures and how they identify and different beliefs that they may have or values that they bring to the table. I'm not saying that at all, but what I am saying is that's good for you in your country over there. Mm-hmm. This is what's good for us over here. And that's okay for you to say that. It shouldn't be wrong or racist.
Well, it is.
So
it's very racist.
That's just something that really, I don't know, it bothers me a lot because it's classic case of rules for thee, but not for me. And that bothers me, especially in today's world.
Well, America's screwed up. I don't care. I mean, I like living here and stuff like that. Yeah, I've been to a lot of foreign countries, and it's still pretty good. However, it's screwed up. I mean, you come here, they let people, and again, people consider I'm trying to trash people that come here and immigrate. I know I'm not. But man, you're not even taking care. There is more freaking handouts for freaking immigrants than there is just freaking U.S. citizens. I can back that up any day of the freaking week.
And that's intentional.
And, the other side of it is, from that, we're not even, besides taking in all these other illegal stuff, we don't even have we have the resources, but they're not making the resource available to take care of our own people.
Because we got to take care of all the immigrants. So, come on.
It's ridiculous with the crap they're coming up with, and you're right. I don't think you took a very deep dive in how, but basically what it is, they'll breed you out. Yep. And after they breed you out, whatever that mass majority of people that maintain a certain belief system or whatever else, it's not a matter of we'll vote on it. It's a matter of we're going to do it because we outpower you by numbers.
Yep, exactly. And that's the craziest part. So, like, for instance, you have this Western society which embraces abortions and, kind of anti-family rhetoric. But then you go to a place like the Middle East where it's very family-focused and they have large families.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like if you actually start looking at it, it doesn't take long, people, okay? It only takes a few generations for any group of people to become a minority the moment you stop having kids. And especially when other nations are producing twice to 3 times as many as you are.
Right.
The law of, I guess, nature would say, well, that nation is probably going to dominate.
And you watch it, then as people's going to get pissed off because we're racist or, whatever, get bent. I don't care. Like this is just reality. I mean, the thing of it is there's places, there's governments try this, like, I'm not mistaken, that's with the Jews, wasn't that kind of what Holocaust, basically, an attempt, breed them out. If I'm mistaken, I think it was a very small piece of that. But, people these are facts. And the thing of it is, if you don't like my opinion, that's okay. You don't have to agree with it. That's totally okay. However, people in our government are doing nothing to fix this crap. And I'm not worried about some Muslim coming over here and changing crap right away. I'm not worried about, whether it be a Jew, whether it be a black person, a white person, and crap like that. However, it is facts that the majority will control. If people don't like it, I can back it up and say, why do you think black people still feel oppressed? Because the biggest part of the community is white.
Yeah.
Now, there's many reasons. You do have racism. You do have a lot of other factors besides just certain things. But why do you think they feel that way? Well, because the dominating power would be of a white skin color. I don't want to say white because white's kind of not really the majority
European.
Anymore. But they feel a certain way. Now, there's facts behind those things, too. I'm not taking away because I'm just using it as a very dang, it's in my eyes, killing me. I'm using it as an example because, it's obviously a problem with black people being, oppressed, whatever word you want to use, racially profiled, numerous things you could interject there. So, proven. A minority is going to get steamrolled in America. History will repeat itself.
And it's not just America, it's everywhere.
Well, people don't care.
That's how nations work.
Yeah, but today, even like you look at even from a biblical perspective, but Christianity, what Christianity was 10 years ago is different than today.
Yeah.
30, 40, 50 years ago, whatever.
Oh, fun fact, did you know Christians are the most persecuted religion on earth? So
they say.
No, it is.
Well, by whose definition of persecution?
The globes.
But again, by what? A biblical definition?
Where you can be killed for having
how many Christians do you know being killed in America for being Christian?
Oh, I'm not saying here. America, it's easy. It's easy to be anything except right.
Yeah, well, that's true. There ain't nobody. I mean, you go to a foreign country, you start talking about Jesus, handing out Bibles. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Try doing that in Iran.
But that's the thing, and that's the thing. You come here, and it's like, oh, you can be whatever you want to be.
Yep.
The thing of it is, those ideologies that you have, and and Muslim's a big one. And it's not that I'm scared of it or I'm worried about it or anything to do with my background. The reason being because I keep going in that Muslim, and I mean, you could be a little bit wrong on this too, but here in America, the big one that was just, I say a couple of years ago, it may have been a little bit longer than that, was Sharia law getting really pushed hard. And, obviously those things were shot down. But you see, these things are already being tried. Joe, you're stupid, you're wrong, that'll never happen in America. Okay. You didn't explain to me why the LGBTQ community has so many damn rights as they're grabbing foothold. That's a minority, and they are dictating you. They are dictating the path of America. You don't. Oh, well, no, we have control of freedom of speech. Do you? You say certain things on here, they'll freaking boot you off. You can't say what you want. You don't have freedom of speech when it comes to that. You say something against. I can go out here and call a certain race, certain thing. It's okay. You go call somebody something in LGBT, and people need to think about this. If I called some black guy, bad word, we all know what that'd be. Yeah, you might get your ass kicked for it, but relatively legal consequences, there's not much.
Right.
You go call somebody at LGBTQ community a bad word, it's a hate crime.
Yeah, and what's crazy about that
So-
too is like we used to use words like transvestite when describing them, and that was
Well,
like
he's
totally fine and mainstream. And now,
Well-
to basically say like, hey man, maybe you aren't born in the wrong body,
Yeah.
is transphobic.
Well, when I was growing up, whenever you said the word fag, it wasn't about cigarettes. You know?
Yeah, right.
You say he's called somebody that now. Against people, don't misquote me. I'm not calling anybody a fag. I'm saying in general, to make a comparison years ago, that was probably, it was a derogatory, but it was still an accepted term.
Yeah.
You
and
call somebody that now, again, hate crime.
I'm sure
don't know.
some of them probably wear that one with pride. They're like, yeah, I'm a fag.
Well, you call them you call people whatever you want, but the thing of it is, what I'm saying, man, this is an ideology that will carry in here. Is what we're saying, that this is already happening here. If you start letting people come here by the droves, and we can even just shit can everything we've talked about in every other race. If we just said, "Hey, Israel, we understand. We'll take all your freaking problems, your people, let them immigrate here so they're not getting killed." It sounds good, and stupid Americans will probably let it happen. But guess what do you think's going to happen? They're going to stay here. They ain't going to leave.
Yeah, and
We don't want you.
and then it
Well,
changes the
I'm not going
country.
to speak for everybody. I don't want you here. I don't want all that stuff here.
I don't want any outside nations people.
Like we need,
especially
and,
the ones that are fleeing war.
and again, people's going to, Joe, you're being racist. It ain't got nothing to do with race. It's not because I don't want them here per se. I don't want anybody here.
Yeah.
We need to, and I'll say this and defend it. We need to shut down every freaking person coming to the United States. I don't care which way you're coming from, land, air, sea, coming from skydiving, you're coming from hell and coming out of the ground. It needs to be stopped. We need to control our own things first and get America back under control before we start letting every other problem still keep trickling in. We can't even hope. We have to raise our debt ceiling even more to keep our government open, but yet we keep giving handouts to everybody that crosses the border. We have people killing people in schools. You're worried about some baby getting beheaded on a false accusation. Now, I understand that'd be a very horrible thing to happen.
Yeah.
But what about the thousands? What about the schools getting shot up here in America? Let's worry about our own kids getting killed by some gunman, and basically I'm saying a mental health issue in America before we start worrying about everybody else's problems with little kids and stuff getting killed. What about our little kids? What about my little kids? When do we start worrying about that before we start worrying about everybody else's little kids?
And why are you always trying to bring their problems to our country? Instead of that, how about we do the best move, which is go fix the problem with that country. And that doesn't mean go in and change regimes and now put your own guy in there who's going to do your bidding. No, I'm not saying any of that. But it's going to that country and finding out what the actual problem is, whether it's corruption, bad finances, whatever it is.
Again,
there's all levels for countries and their problems.
We can't do that.
But
That's an impossibility. We can't even work with our own people in America, and you want to go to a foreign country and try to sit down and actually work with them?
sorry, I was living
That was
in a,
tried with Donald Trump in North Korea, and he actually made whatever little progress. He actually made one of the first presidents of the United States to sit down and talk with him. And it might have been a little bit of progress. What's been done since?
Yeah,
Nothing.
They're still
Well, let's
eating
just let them
bugs.
meet up on a train to Russia and meet up and do nothing about it. Now, I'm not saying. Well, to me, a perfect time would have been bomb that sucker and just fix both problems.
Right.
But however, they're doing nothing. We need to take care of our own people first. We need to take care of the problems in America and quit worrying about everybody else's problems until will it be fixed completely? No.
Right.
But we can get things under control.
And it's just strange to me to live in a world where it's wrong for a country to say that. It's wrong for a country to say, "Hey guys, we're going to take a step back. We got some stuff we need to figure out and work on, and we'll be back."
Mm-hmm.
But we can't do that. We're too
Everything,
involved.
man. I'm telling you,
We've got too many fingers in everyone's pie.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
So it's like now we're at a point where
I mean, just
you've made so many promises.
Well, I'm just going to entertain. Let's try to phrase this. What is Hamas doing to Israel?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I want to see this. I know they're fighting over probably stupid stuff. Okay. Israel attacks on women. That happens in America. On mosques. That happens in America. So there's two right off the bat. I think it's suspected kidnapping happens in America. I think that's up. Let's see what they call that. Sex trafficking, human trafficking. We got to go to Israel to fix their problems. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can pull up this terrorist organization. Just three. No, those are three. I'm sure I could probably find more. But let's just look at that. Kidnapping. They're worried about little kids getting kidnapped. And I know the way my tone sounds there, like I'm not taking it seriously. It's a big freaking deal. We have a sex trafficking, slave trafficking in America. Government ain't doing crap. They can say, we're giving money, we're doing that. No, you're not. You're not doing enough. But yet now we got to go get involved in their problems.
Yeah.
We're going to go kill people. Here, let's even get this a little bit more real for people in America so you can pull your head out of your butt and actually see the daylight. What we're doing is, in here, they're kidnapping kids and taking them hostage and stuff like that. And what are we going to do? The only retaliation you do in a combat zone is you kill them. Not the kids. You kill the people that did it. So let's take the same philosophy in the United States of America for sex trafficking and child abductions. Let's kill them. Let's go after the people that did it and kill them. That's what they're trying to get us to do.
Isn't it though? Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Strange. It really
and now
is.
You want me to freaking go get a front of war and go defend another nation whenever you won't even defend yours
for the same crimes.
Is it not the same?
It is. Yeah, and what's strange about it is that it's always the people at the top who get to make the law that says you can do that just so happen to be involved.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to make this real so people understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying there shouldn't be a fraction we should be involved. I'm so sick of hearing it because our country's so screwed up the way it is. We need to start fixing things here first and quit freaking sticking our nose in everybody else's business, because and Russia and Ukraine, people, we should be there. We should support it. No, we shouldn't. You shouldn't have stuck your freaking nose in it.
Well, that's over now. Ukraine, that's a long
it is now because of this.
Yep, exactly.
But my problem with it is standing people, whatever, is the billions of dollars that we sunk into it that we should have used here first.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. And, I guess the last thing I would say to kind of wrap this up would be...
The last thing, hell, I've got all night. I'm full of piss and vinegar, and I go on about this right now.
No, I believe me, I definitely could too. But, for the way I guess I kind of look at this with Israel specifically... I feel like Israel's kind of like a younger brother, maybe the middle brother, and then you got like the youngest. I don't know what country that would be, but maybe Mexico. Anywho, I kind of look at it like this. We all know Israel is more than capable of defending themselves. So don't send the money. Don't send the troops. Don't send the support. Let them take care of themselves. And then you're like, oh, well, Devin, we have treaties, and we got to help these guys because they're going to help us if we're ever in trouble. No, they're not. No, they're not. If America gets attacked, if America's in deep doo-doo, you know what happens like when lions are going at it, or like animals that are trying to beat the alpha male to become the alpha male?
Mm-hmm.
All the other ones watch. They don't step in and, oh my gosh, our leader's getting attacked. Let's jump in and save him. No, they watch him die. And then it's a power struggle from there on who gets what.
Mm-hmm.
That's how that works. So for any American out there who thinks that another country is going to come to your defense on the day that we're attacked and the day that we need help, you're wrong.
Yeah, I don't see in any way, shape, or form us ever getting paid back the billions of dollars we dumped into Iraq. We are not getting the 150 plus billion that I can think of off the top of my head back from Ukraine.
Or
it ain't happening.
Or anywhere, man.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
And in fact, and I don't know the numbers from a government standpoint to make this statement, but I'm gonna make it anyway because it sounds good. I don't know of any war that we've been involved in that somebody else funded,
or that we got paid back.
Yeah. Well, even paid back, yeah. But just hey, we're gonna go to war at Iraq. Now people helped and stuff like that, but I'm saying nobody funded that. America did.
Yeah.
Like I don't recall if they're like, hey, you're getting $50 billion of aid from a foreign country to go help fight the war. Or, I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying I never heard of it.
And that's the problem, is that America is kind of out on its own. And it's like when you're the richest guy in the room, you start throwing money around. Mm-hmm. And you got everyone around you ready to pick it all up. That's kind of the strange thing.
What in the heck is that? My dog is having a dream. He's got sick of listening about terrorists. Like hearing him over there barking. He's not barking. Probably the viewers probably can't hear it. Like this little He's having a dream of like a little chihuahua is getting me or something. I don't know what that is.
Well, either way, thank you guys so much for listening. I'm super interested to hear people's position on this one in particular. You know, are you pro-Israel, pro-Palestine? I'm not going to say Hamas.
Well, I mean, people have to understand. I would even be interested if people even understand really it's confusing when you start getting, Israel, Palestine, and then you got Hamas and this dictatorship kind of, terrorist group, whatever.
Where they can and can't go, what's allowed.
Give your feedback.
History.
I want more feedback on the drag queens that I called out like 2 or 3 weeks ago to try to get on the show, and yet here we are. Everybody, I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole, but hey, here's the deal. Everybody in the LGBT community wants to just have a conversation. Hey, I've called you out. I've been pitching it 2 or 3 weeks in a row. Hey, come on here. I'll take you. I'll sit down. We'll have a legitimate conversation, actually talk. And nobody wants to.
Well,
so hey, all I'm saying is this: from what I'm seeing, you're proving me to be correct that you all don't want a conversation. You just want to push your agenda. Hey, I hope I'm wrong, and I have no problem. I'm not retracting anything because that's just how I feel. But you're just reinforcing that statement by nobody reaching out. Because the thing of it is, so we can clarify that, so people are like, oh, well, nobody knows. No, like, there is several people.
No, it got a lot of attention
out there, and nobody wants to say
it. And I reached out to people, and the response I always got was, I would love to talk to you, but I'm too scared because of potential retaliation if I say the wrong thing for my community.
Yeah.
And that's bananas.
My community would not treat me like that.
Right? Yeah, if I say something wrong, it's going to be like, idiot.
I mean, if you can't read between the lines, in my community, I have no community. It sounds like a cult.
My community.
Like, if they're truly your friends, they wouldn't treat you like that anyway.
Ooh, that's a really good closing statement, actually.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, if you were really my friend,
you
wouldn't treat me this way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening, for watching. Any questions, comments? I'd love to hear y'all's opinion, so please hit me up. But other than that, have a great night.